You found the tickets. 3 of them. The price on the screen says $290. That's your budget. That's the deal. You add them to cart. And then the page loads. Service fee, order processing fee, facility charge. By the time you reach checkout, your $290 purchase is $453. You've seen this before. You felt the frustration. You paid it anyway. Because what were you going to do? That feeling was not an accident. It was engineered. By design. There is a company called Nation Entertainment. Most people have never heard that name, but they know its other name. Ticketmaster. Live Nation controls roughly 80% of primary ticketing at major concert venues in the United States. Not 60%, not 70, 80. That number didn't happen by accident. In 2010, Live Nation, the concert promoter, merged with Ticketmaster, the ticketing platform. The Department of Justice approved the deal, with conditions. Those conditions were never enforced. The result is a single company that books the artist, owns the venue, and sells you the ticket. Every layer, every dollar, one company. The industry has a name for what happened to your cart: drip pricing. You are shown a base price first. Then, the fees appear, one at a time, at the moment you are most committed to buying. The Government Accountability Office studied this. Their report found that fees on primary market tickets averaged 27% of the ticket price. On the secondary market, 31%. In some cases, fees reach nearly 60% of the total cost. Here's what makes this different from frustrating and moves it into something else entirely. Ticketmaster knew. Federal investigators obtained internal company documents. Those documents show that Ticketmaster's own research found that customers were less likely to complete a purchase when shown the true price up front. They tested it. They had the data. And they continued the practice anyway. One internal email described the checkout experience as a bait and switch. Their word, not ours. From 2019 to 2024, customers paid $16 billion in mandatory fees to Ticketmaster alone. And then, in March 2026, as the trial began, the court unsealed something else. Internal Slack messages sent by a senior Live Nation executive from 2021 to 2023 while you were buying tickets. He was talking about you. Live Nation's response when these messages became public. When he testified in court, he called it very immature. He said he was just testing market demand. He has since been promoted, twice. But the fees are only half the machine. Meet Ticketmaster Verified Resale. When a ticket sells out in minutes, it reappears on the same platform at 3 times the price. You assume scalpers did this. Sometimes they did. But Ticketmaster profits either way. They collect fees on the original sale. Then they collect fees again when that same ticket is resold on their own platform. In 2025 alone, Ticketmaster's resale business processed $26 billion in tickets. $26 billion in tickets being resold on the same platform that sold them the first time. And when technology existed that could have identified and stopped the scalpers, Ticketmaster chose not to deploy it because it was working too well. It would have hurt their revenue. In 2022, Taylor Swift's tour presale locked out, bots harvesting tickets within seconds of release. The outrage was impossible to ignore. The Senate called a hearing. Live Nation's president testified under oath. 2 years later, the Department of Justice filed a landmark antitrust lawsuit seeking to break them up entirely. A year after that, a new federal rule required companies to show the full price upfront, a rule that only became necessary because Ticketmaster spent years doing the opposite. 39 states joined the legal action. On March 9, 2026, the Department of Justice announced a settlement, $280 million. The fine, that was supposed to hold one of the most powerful entertainment companies in American history accountable. Live Nation's revenue last year was $25 billion. $280 million is 4 days of revenue. By Thursday afternoon, the fine is paid. And the system stays exactly as it was. Several states refused to sign the deal. They called it, in their own words, a terrible deal. 1 week after the DOJ settled, those states walked back into court. The trial is still running. The fight is not over, but the system is still running. Next time the fees appear at checkout and you feel that moment of frustration, followed by the quiet resignation of just paying it, know that moment was studied. It was tested. It was optimized. The friction you feel at checkout is not a flaw in the system. It is the system. You didn't buy a ticket. You were harvested by design.